You're tuned in to the It's Real podcast with your hosts, Kayla Kallander and Andrew Yagi. Each week, we'll talk about what happens behind the scenes working full-time in real estate and share with you real-life stories, our successes and failures as we work to help consumers and industry professionals reach their real estate and real-life goals. Here we go.
Welcome to the It's Real podcast. I'm Kayla Kallander, and I'm a mortgage lender.
I'm Andrew Yagi. I'm a real estate agent.
Hi, Andrew Yagi. How are we doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Kayla?
I'm good. It feels like fall. We are here. It's here.
Fall. It is. Does that mean no more traveling out to the lake for the Kallander family?
I feel like we're going to travel more. People are gone. It's quiet. Dogs can run around. It's fabulous. So,
what about bison football and tailgating and all of the
I know we got to balance that. I didn't go last time, but there's still many opportunities. Are you going to make it to a game?
I need to make it to a game. We talk about it every year, and I guess homecoming would be the logical piece. When is NDSU homecoming this year?
I don't know. You should. I don't know. October.
Let's see, the 22nd through 27th, it says.
Okay. So are you going to come to the game?
I really should.
I'll go if you go. We'll talk about
it. Saturday the 27th.
Oh, I won't be there. Yeah.
Where are you going to be?
I'm hosting family at the lake. My sister's coming to town. She's from Colorado. So just having a bunch of people at the lake, it'll be great. So.
Okay.
Well, it'll be great to tailgate too. So make your way there if you can.
All right. Well, maybe we'll find you another time.
Sounds good.
What's new in Fargo?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I think just to talk about probably the elephant in the room, it's been heavy. Like the world has been kind of heavy, but ultimately there's a lot of people talking about back to school. There's a lot of people back to college. The town is, bebopping again. So I feel like there's just more people here. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about moving to Fargo. I've had a lot of conversations with people moving to Fargo from other states. So I just always feel like this time of year, it just gets busier with people and just more conversations are had about, relocating to the beautiful, Valley of the Gods. So what about you? How's Fergus?
Fergus is kind of slow and steady, kind of as usual. It's a beautiful place to live, but nothing all that exciting, just kind of getting back into the flow of fall everything. Actually, Violet, my middle child, she turned 6 today, so that's kind of so we're I don't know what she has in store for us later today, but we'll be doing some birthday celebrating in our household, and just all of the back to school kind of things. We worked a lot over the weekend at the Catholic school that our kids attend, kind of working on updating the playground. So we kind of got rid of rock and put in there was a school that had some, kind of like the rubber tiles. And so we worked over the weekend, a bunch of volunteers, lots of hours. We've got almost complete, not quite. We ran a few tiles short, but that was kind of a fun, kind of rewarding project. We worked on a little bit, and just trying to improve things, for the school, for our kids, and future generations as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would say that you stay busy, especially you seem very involved with your kids' school. You seem very involved with, it seems like you guys are doing quite a bit. Do they have a lot of, being a Catholic school, is there a lot more activity that like parents are involved with, or I suppose you might not really notice compared to like public school?
I'd say parents and families are probably more hands-on, unlike public school, like it's a lot of public funding. So even a project like this, it's like $120,000 project if we were to hire a company, and basically I think the tiles were $8,000 on an auction. And so obviously a private entity doesn't generally have a budget for something like that, and a lot of other things. So I think people are a little bit more hands-on, not that they aren't in the public sense, but I just think out of necessity, just having to be. But it's really rewarding and it's fun. And I look at it, my wife and I talk about it all the time, that these years already are going so quick. Like it's a lot of fun to do that. And even just to get to know other people, other parents and families, in a different context, it's kind of
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and happy birthday to your daughter, and congrats on getting back into a schedule. It's kind of nice, isn't
fun.
it?
It really is, although, the days just fly, and even,
Oh,
I feel like the load of homework isn't huge, but still when you stack activities and everything else on top of it, like it's, the weeks just fly by, Kayla.
yeah.
They
And
really do.
yeah, I love that. Well, back to fall. It seems like it's gotten busier in real estate. I feel like it has. What are you seeing in the market today? What are you seeing in the last week or so?
Yeah, well, I guess keeping in mind that our market's a little bit smaller and we have a big
Hmm.
lake shore market. So, the lake season is about done. So,
Yeah.
I did have a really great conversation with some lake buyers who actually are going to come up this weekend and look at some properties. So it's still on people's mind, I think, as far as where they want to be next year, but the lake market as a whole has really, really slowed down. I would say still in our market, the really attractive home options, the ones that are really affordable and priced right, are still moving pretty quick. And again, a lot of people thinking, hey, I want to get into something this year or before winter, they're making moves. But I would say it's probably back to a more seasonal norm, which is
Yeah.
still hard. It's even hard for me to wrap my head around just because the market has just been go, go, go.
Yeah, I agree. And there has been, I'm seeing, a lot of lenders got out of the business, Andy. They came in the 2021 year. It was busy. But we're seeing a lot of people that have gotten out of the business. And the reason I bring that up is that, when these rates have dropped, we're seeing people wanting to refinance. And we're seeing a lot more on lenders' plates because there's fewer of us. So I'm seeing, hey, I used to work with this lender. They're no longer in the business. Can I refi with you? Can we talk? So I feel like too that maybe lenders are experiencing a little more, I don't want to say pressure, but more business because there's so many that have gotten out of it. But on the other hand, you could probably say the same for real estate agents that there's probably been a lot of real estate agents that have gotten out of the market too. Do you feel like you've taken over like more market share or, what are you seeing on that front?
Well, obviously, as being a newer agent, and in the last 5 years, obviously, all of the potential business that I've done, somebody else would have done in the past. So, yeah, for sure, we've taken market
Yeah.
share. I would have guessed that more agents would have gotten out of the business, than what I've seen and what I see in the rosters. I think I haven't looked at numbers lately, but of course, last year we know that it was the slowest year in 30 years for home sales. And I think this year is going to be a little bit slower. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
be marginally less. So I think that we're going to see a few more people who are going to be exiting after this year. Just I think it's inevitable. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
I think there will be more. Our team, we continue to grow. I know you're growing your team, and we're looking, as I'm sure you are as well, like, hey, what are some ways we can use AI,
Yeah.
to help bridge the gap to actually cultivate some of these leads, to work some of these leads, just because one of the biggest problems we have, and I know you have it more than I do, is that, boy, like there are so many demands out there, and it's impossible to stay on top of every single individual and every
Yeah.
single lead. And so we've been trying a variety of tools. One tool, I will say that we just were trying was kind of a fail, an AI fail, in that this AI bot was, basically committing me to appointments that, in person, that it's like, okay, that doesn't fit my schedule, and
Oh
was
no.
talking about sending individual information via Google Drive or via text message, which it can't do. So
Yeah.
it was maybe a little bit of an overzealous AI tool. But I will always say that it's good to be on the cutting edge, and it's good to kind of dare to be wrong. And even if it isn't perfect, to roll the dice to try something versus not doing something at all.
I love that though. I have a lender friend down in Texas. Shout out to Ken Travis. He is using AI to book appointments and he found something that, worked super well. And it really, was so intelligent in asking questions and it saved him time, but then he was able to just, get the basic details about a client scenario and then he was able to speak with them. So there's probably some really great software out there and I applaud you for trying because before I remember hearing about this, Andy, and being like, that's weird, like who would use AI for that? Well, people are using it, and truthfully, it's not to replace us, it's to help elevate us so that we can shine in our best ability and our talents can be used for the client's good too. And so, are there any other things that you're using technology-wise, like AI-wise?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously we talk about using Chat GPT and using things like that. I've used Grok. We've got Google's Gemini, which we'll use once in a while. Using this particular platform that I was just referencing that we use in conjunction with a lot of the video ads we use to market properties. Because again, like I might be shooting a video with you right now as we're doing our podcast. There might be a lead that's coming in, and we all know it's about speed to lead in really just about any area of life. So if I'm talking to you, I can't necessarily engage
Mhm.
with that individual. So that's where AI comes in handy. One of our behind the scenes platforms that we use kind of for our website, it's had some AI texting functionality. They added calling a couple of years ago, which we really haven't done, but now they're really branching it out because it could only call the leads it generated for compliance reasons. But
Sure.
now they're unveiling more. In fact, I was just watching a video on it right before we connected here today. So I'm kind of interested just to see, what other ways we can use AI to streamline things going forward.
I love that. I think that if you're not adapting, if you're not using AI, I feel like you're going to fall behind. I know where I work, we have it's kind of like an automated system. It's like a automated underwriter, if you could say. It's not technically like AUS, but it's called Guideline Guru. And any question that I put in, like, can a client buy an investment property with X% down, or could I get a gift of equity for whatever? And what's really great is we aren't, bombarding our underwriters. It pulls guidelines from Fannie, Freddie, FHA, USDA, VA, and it really is incredibly helpful. And you think about where our underwriters shine, and it's probably not just answering questions because they've got the experience when you have guidelines right there. And that has been a powerful tool. And I know there's other tools for income, like calculating some borrowers' income is really difficult. It's complex. There's certain systems that you can plug it in. Well, when I think about that, I think about quicker pre-qualifications that are done for clients, thus quicker offers. So there's a lot of tools in mortgage I know that people are utilizing as well. And it's just to help give us lift, not to technically replace us. So
Mhm. Well, I know I was just reading the other day, and CNBC was reporting on it online that there's a company out there teaming up with Fannie Mae with AI to sniff out mortgage fraud. And
mm,
again, we know that there's fraud everywhere, as we've seen, especially in government in the last year. But they're starting to use technologies that have been shown to sniff out fraud in like immediately, and fraud that would normally take 2 months for an individual, you know,
mhm.
to investigate. So
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting to kind of see um, where that might be going, and which all
Yeah.
the more reason to associate with someone who, especially a lender who's good, who's ethical, and to be doing things right and not
Mhm.
harm others.
Absolutely. Well, I know that AI is not going away. It's only going to enhance and help. And Chat GPT, I now have as like an actual icon, like where my text messages are, because I use it so much. And I made the mistake of asking it, what is my curse? Anyone who's listening to it, Andy, you should try this too. Ask Chat GPT, what's your curse? And it just tells you, like, it to me, it talked about like, setting the bar so high, and when is, do I, take the time to celebrate my wins? And it's just very interesting what you can ask it. But that was my recent Chat GPT ask. So give it a shot.
Interesting. I'll have to go and do that.
Give it a shot.
Well, Kayla, a lot of people are wondering. The Fed just announced their first rate cut in 9 months and have talked about more reductions to come. What does it mean? What does it mean for me? What does
Mhm.
it mean
You
for
know,
mortgage and so on and so forth?
there's so much conversation about the Fed dropping rates, but there's not a lot of conversation about what that means for mortgage rates. Well, what we saw when the Fed dropped their rate, now remember, Fed rates are overnight. So think about HELOCs, think about credit cards, instantaneous. Mortgage rates do not follow the Fed rate. And so we actually saw mortgage rates tick up. So as you can see, rates are up. And so 99% of my clients locked in anticipation that we might see this. Our last two rate drops that we've seen with the Fed have caused mortgage rates to go up. Now, not to say that it's going to last, but that is what we've seen with mortgage rates. So overall though, Andy, rates are still lower than they have been in some time. And we're seeing a lot of clients take advantage of it. We're seeing a lot of individuals have more affordability. Maybe they can go up, instead of 250 in a price, maybe they can go to 260 now, just depending on what program they're in and how it impacts them. But it's caused a lot of conversations. And I've got about a dozen clients that are looking to refinance right now where they pulled the trigger. Maybe they've been at 7%. I think if you're at 7% or higher, you should be having conversations. It depends on your goals. If you're going to sell within a couple of years, might not be worth it, but ultimately have conversations with the lender and find out, like, what is the break-even point? Is it worth it? I ask my clients, Andy, I say, if your employer offered you $300 more per month, would you take it? Yes or no? Well, clients would say yes. If I ask a client, what do you need to save per month to refinance? You have to really think about your goals, because you might be able to save $350 if you wait a little bit, but in that time, you're going to lose the money because you've been sitting at that higher rate. So there really has to be a lot of dialogue around refinances, because it truly is just so dependent upon the client's goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, it's interesting. And I think that, kind of what I've read out there, I mean, so obviously we've seen this before, and, notice that mortgage rates have kind of priced in the anticipated rate cuts. So a jump, things staying kind of level. Hopefully we'll see some more cuts or more talk. I have a feeling that the Fed's going to kind of take a look and say, hey, what does the market look like? Because of course, a lot of reasons this cut happened was because of the employment numbers that came up, and the economic numbers haven't been as rosy as one would like. So I think they'll obviously kind of sit and wait and watch. Hey, did this cut have a positive effect? Was it enough of an effect? Was it not? And at which point they'll reevaluate. But hopefully we'll see mortgage rates continue to drop, which is really going to help. I mean, I have a lot of buyers, I'm sure you do too, Kayla, that would really, really benefit from some additional cuts and lower mortgage rates.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of twofold too. You also have sellers that maybe are like, to go from 2.875 to 7 is really tough, but they might feel more comfortable selling too. And so I think though, you can't time the market. The people that were buying that could take advantage of those rates had to have had a contract in place. So the people that, and we both know it takes time to find a house and to make an offer and get accepted. So it's really hard to time the market. And that's where I go back to say, focus on your time in the market, because what is the stat, Andy? Every 15 years, real estate doubles. So, when you think about that, waiting 3 to 5 years, you're losing out on that appreciation. And so I always just tell people, if home ownership feels like it's right for you and you feel good about like the payment, you feel okay, it's comfortable, think about all the other benefits involved. So ultimately, I think that we will probably see rates decline. I don't have a crystal ball. If I did, I'd be a very wealthy woman. But I think that we'll see a slow trickle into 2026, especially.
Mm-hmm.
But
right
we'll see.
And you'll get some additional insight, because I think you're going to a convention of sorts, Kayla, in which you may be actually not just attending, but maybe speaking as well.
Yeah, I am speaking at the Mortgage Bankers Association, their annual 2025 in October. I am honored, but I'll be speaking on a panel about, it's called Post Profit. So using social media to, attract people, educate people, get in front of, one to many. So I will be on a panel with a couple other individuals at Fontainebleau in October. So I luckily will be able to attend the event and get some insights and connect with other people and other thought leaders to see, what are you seeing? And what's really cool is, they talk about AI, they talk about marketing, they talk about the state of our industry, they talk about rates. And so it's a really great place to be to get a lot of insight in a one-stop shop.
That's impressive. Good
yeah.
for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Come join if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to probably be out doing some farming. So probably I always hate it because there end up being a variety of just great events in September and October, and it's like, oh man, it's back to school time. Like even Tony Robbins, like I wanted to go is Unleash the Power Within, and like this, it's just coming up shortly, and it's like, oh man, it's not going to work. But one day the stars will align.
One day, and it's you can only do so much, right? There's only so much time. So, and I think you and I both are extroverts, and we love being around people. But I also really enjoy being at home too. I'm like an introvert
Yep.
extrovert, so there's only so much time in the day, and we can go to thousands of conferences. There's so many that you can be involved with. And in our industry, there's so many masterminds and things to join.
I
And
don't like the term mastermind, Kayla.
uh, how
You know,
come?
I just don't like it. I
I
feel like, oh, I just feel like it's kind of a disingenuous,
yeah,
like kind of easy label to throw on things. Oh, we're masterminding over here on this, and we're masterminding. It's like, I mean, that's
you're
just
not wrong.
kind of like in the Catholic Church. Quite often they say, "Oh, we're going to do a mission." Well, and I always say, "What's a mission? Like, are we going on a mission trip?" And no, mission is just kind of an outdated term for, hey, we're having basically, someone come and speak on something, and it's like
I
it just
get it. We're
dies.
gonna title this episode "What's Another Name for a Mastermind" and see if we get any responses.
Anyway, well, one thing I want to touch on really quick, because I know you're up against the clock today, but we
Every
talked.
day.
Yeah, aren't we all up against the clock? Just talking a lot. We talk a lot, especially with you working as a lender. We talk a lot about buyers, but obviously we've seen the market shift a little bit,
Yeah.
and we've seen buyers gain leverage just
Yeah.
as inventory numbers, kind of return to more seasonal averages, and there being a more normal number of homes for sale on the market. So, what does that mean for sellers, Kayla? So, with
Mm.
buyers getting leverage, we're seeing, sellers need smarter counter offers, which maybe is something you don't think about as much, not listing homes. And I mean, you're
Yeah.
working with sellers, but only on their buy side.
Yeah, I think too, like what I tell my clients is, the lender that you choose is not just going to give you a letter and tell you, be on your merry way. The sellers and the seller's agent are also looking at that letter. Who is the lender? What is their reputation? And I try to help my clients too. And there's a lane that I have to stay in because it's the buyer's agent that's representing, but it's like, what does the seller want? How, it's not always about the highest price. So this article goes into some of those details, doesn't it?
You're kind of jumping ahead to point number 3 with,
Ooh.
who's the buyer and how strong are they? And part of that actually does have to do with the lender. Is the lender good? Are they local, or is it, are they just getting a pre-approval letter from Rocket Mortgage or something? But
Yeah.
also wanting to know if they have cash, are they motivated, etc. I'll go through this kind of quickly here, but if you're selling your house today, there are a number of things, to kind of consider here when you're entertaining an offer. So number one, who's the buyer's agent? Kayla, it's really helpful. Like if I get an offer from John, we'll just say John down the street.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, I probably worked with John. I know him as an individual. I know him as an agent. I know his style. So it's going to be helpful, especially agents like me who work with a lot of sellers. We see a lot of offers. So we generally know who the agent is. We know what their style is. We can usually predict what their offer is going to look like. And there are some agents where we just cringe when we get an offer from them. So also very good. We talk often about picking someone good to partner with, lender and agent, partner with someone good. Number 2, what's the buyer's motivation? So I'm going to try to have a conversation with the other agent. Ultimately, they should keep many things confidential, but many agents will tell you everything you want to know. So when I'm working with sellers, I try to really feel out the other party. We've already talked about number 3, who's the buyer, how strong are they? Number 4, what does the market say about the listing, Kayla? So I want to look at relevant comps, like again, is the property priced right? Is it priced to get attention or priced to feed the seller's personal preference? So look at things like that. Kayla, item number 5, what's the traffic telling us? So again, if we've got a house listed and we're not getting any showings, that definitely is something that we need to talk about. If we are getting showings, what's the feedback? It astounds me, Kayla, if I've taken over another listing after another agent hasn't been able to sell something, and I say, hey, I want to see the feedback. Oftentimes I'll hear from people, boy, our agent never gave us any feedback. If you're not getting feedback, how are you supposed to know?
Mhm.
And number 6, Kayla, are we prioritizing ego over progress? If we're close enough to move the ball forward, or are we digging in our heels to win? There are a lot of stubborn sellers out there. You've probably seen it online where a lot of individuals will say sellers think the market's still up here, and buyers think that it's like 2008 levels. Obviously, we've got to find some common ground. But a good question often is, which I've had to ask some people, do you really want to sell the house at all?
Yeah.
And people don't. So
Interesting.
and go ahead.
I like that when it talks about what does the seller really want? Is it a fast closing? Is it bottom line? Is it no inspection? You really need to, as a buyer, think about not just the highest price. Like I said, it's not just about that. What are other ways that you can win the deal? I know sometimes the program makes a difference as well, and you're spot on is how motivated are the sellers? Do they have to sell, or are they just putting it out there to see what sticks? I'm sure you see it all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. And kind of going into number 7, what happens as a seller if we say nothing at all? Sometimes, again, an individual will say, well, we're way too far apart. I'm not even going to respond, or I feel insulted by that offer. But not countering at all generally does send a negative message, even if it's something modest or close to, kind of the price you're looking at. Keep the door open for more conversation. And that's a big reason why we have agents in the first place, why we have lenders, is to keep the emotion out of it, because it still astounds me the amount of emotion in real estate, Kayla.
Amen. And we see it every day. And sometimes it's therapy sessions that we have with clients. It's emotional. And I would go back to say what you had said, who you're working with. You want someone that's going to listen. You're going to want someone that's going to understand as well, because this is emotional. Yes, it's, what's the lowest rate and what are my fees? But there's a lot of emotion as a seller and a lot of emotion as a buyer that goes into this.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So as Kayla said, it matters who you partner with. If you ever have any questions, reach out to Kayla. She's great. I'm always happy to visit as well about particular, circumstance, or reach out to a professional of your choice. But reach out early, reach out often. Don't wait till the day you think you want to go make an offer, only to get beat out because of a lack of preparation, Kayla.
Mm-hmm. Amen. The only thing you're out by being prepared is you're out a little bit of time. And either way, when you make an offer, you're going to have to put in the work with the application anyway. So why not be proactive and get it done sooner than later?
Right on. Well, that wraps up episode 87 of the podcast. Kayla, have a great rest of the week.
I will if you will.
See ya. Bye.